Now let's go ahead and get started. I'm going to begin by sharing my screen. So much good stuff to share today. So with that, we're going to start by weaving a lot of different themes together. There's several different things that I think by the end of the presentation, you'll see how this is a really fortuitous date and we live in a really amazing time. So I'm going to go ahead and just briefly cover a couple things I did in the podcast, but 8/8, this is the date of the Lion's Gate. And, you know, 8, this is kind of seen for numerologists. Numerologists aren't just modern people. There's a history of numerology and Hebrew mysticism in Mesopotamian culture, in Greek philosophy, in Vedic systems in India, even Christianity, if you look in there. So 8 is seen as a powerhouse number. It's seen as a bridge between the material and the spiritual. So the first image there, if you turn the number 8 on its side, we've got the infinity loop, and infinity is just this endless flow of cosmic energy. It's also a wonderful mirroring, reflective symbol. So it's the essence of the law of attraction, many numerologists would say, but even those who work with the infinity symbol. And that would be that everything in our world is a reflection of our vibration, which is what this portal is activating in us, I believe, today. If you look also at the tarot, on the left, I have the Rider-Waite tarot, which is the traditional tarot. If you look at this symbol of the 8th card, it's the strength card. There's a woman interacting with a lion calmly, casually. She's got an infinity loop over her head. And then I put one of my tarot decks on the right side. That is the Syrian Starseed tarot. But there's a woman interacting with a lion in a very ephemeral way, the apex predator of our planet, many would say, and she's calm and strong and centered. So I like this because this just seems like this is what this date is reminding us of. So let's fast forward to why this is important. Today is known as a day when Sirius, the sun, and the earth align. There's potential for energetic communication and downloads. Sirius has been known by many ancient cultures to be significant. You'll find Sirius on the dollar bill of the United States of America, but beyond that, the Hindu yuga cycles, on the right I have the chart of the yuga cycles. This is one of the ways that we talk about the lightness coming onto earth, that we've been through times of darkness. If you look at that clock face, at 12 o'clock, if you go down to 6 o'clock, that's the age of darkness. We're coming back up the other side of that clock face towards the light. If you look at the image on the left, this is the relationship that they understood between our sun, which is the central star in that picture, and Sirius, which is the star that rotates around. It's actually, I didn't put the elliptical, but the Sirius has its own, will go kind of, they have an overlapping orbit, and the closer they get together, the more Sirius can filter information to us via our sun. So the Sirius is known as a central sun to our sun, and then there's other central suns. The ultimate central sun would be the galactic center. So it's about being able to refine and give us information. And as we are headed into times of lightness, the downloads, it's not for us to do, it's for us to be aware of and be a part of. So this is also why today is a very special day. Let's start to hook this up with Egypt a little bit. So here's a picture of the Great Pyramid, and this would be the sky over Giza at about 2500 BC. And it's a little small, but there's star shafts in the kings and queens chambers, and they've run these little cars up and down to see that the light can come through there. The shafts align on the left-hand side with Sirius and Orion's belt, giving us a clue that the Egyptians held that constellation and that star to be highly significant. I don't have the time to share it right now, but if we also, in the Egyptian alchemy course, I mentioned that if you look at the relationship between the size of the moon, the size of the earth, the size of the sun, and the exact placement of them, that there's a flower of life. There's mathematic equations that show us that there's a communication of how precise our relationship, the relationship between our sun, our earth, and our moon is, which is what enables us to have these full total eclipses. If you apply some of that math to the dimensions of the three pyramids right near the Sphinx on the Giza Plateau, the Great Pyramid included, they contain the same math. So the Egyptians knew things that we didn't know. And those, those pyramids, I think all of us know, are not tombs. They are power centers. They're also aligned to the stars to receive information. So let's really quickly move next to what's known as the helical rising of Sirius, which is associated with this date. Helical rising simply means the day when a star first becomes visible again for us in the northern hemisphere in the east, just before dawn and the light of sunrise. This is kind of what this might look like in Egypt around this time. That being said, there's something, so this is associated with the flooding of the Nile. When the Egyptians saw the star Sirius come right up, which means this alignment between Sirius, the earth, and the sun was happening, they knew that the Nile was going to flood. It was a big deal for the priests to predict this, and that was that the flooding of the Nile would take the really rich soil and deposit it so that they could have agriculture, so that they could survive. And because of the precession of the equinoxes, that is not, it was happening in early July around the time of Egyptian society. Now it's in August. That's just because of the way that our Earth is oriented and in the sky. And also it's worth noting, there's a dam now. So in the 1960s, the Aswan Dam was built. So this is no longer something that we can see, but I like this picture because this picture shows, how this might have looked back in that time. It's also interesting to note that nobody really knows where the source of the Nile is. There's lots of conjecture, but the Lake Victoria in Africa, the headwaters of the Burundi, but no one can actually trace where the Nile River starts at. And there was a deity that was associated with this yearly inundation that happened around the Lion's Gate. They called the inundation Aket, and it was the coming of the deity Hapi, H-A-P-I, and this was the deity that brought fertility to the land. This is a symbol of how they depicted Hapi, and this is the kind of iconographic pair of genii symbolizing the unity of Upper and Lower Egypt. I find it significant the color of these genies' skin is blue. Blue is associated with Sirius. There's another person in Egyptian pantheon who has skin that is not the typical red or golden color, and that is Osiris. Osiris here is on the left. He's the light blue one. And that's one of the Nile's most sacred gods. He's associated with the underworld. And they believe that the Egyptians believe that the Nile River was kind of the causeway between life and death. So they buried all their dead on the side of the sunset because they believed that that's when sun god Ra went over the horizon, went into the underworld and came back up to rise in the east. So they buried their dead in the west. So pause for a second to say that this date, we get a lot of different pieces of information about this particular portal, if you will. I mentioned some numerology. I mentioned also the numerology in the tarot. I'm going to gloss over astrology because that would take us, but the houses in astrology also point to 8-8 being significant. And so now we're digging around a little bit with this alignment that we know of today and what the Egyptians thought about it. But we're gonna now we've covered Egypt. We're gonna get back to Egypt. I'm gonna scoot over to Africa for a second, and I'm gonna scoot over first into the region of Mali. And the images here are of the Dogon tribe. And I've spoken about this in my podcast a few times. The Dogon are an ethnic group of indigenous people in the Central Plateau region of Mali. So that's West Africa. And they live this is the Bangladari escarpment. These are their homes that are carved out, and they've purposely kept themselves away from modern society. The Dogon, and this is one of the Dogon knew of Sirius, the existence of Sirius A, Sirius B, and Sirius C for a very long time. They were able to tell anthropologists about not only the existence of Sirius B before modern man had developed a telescope that was powerful enough for us scientifically to confirm its existence. These people not only knew about its existence, they knew about the shape of its orbit. It has an elliptical orbit. They knew about the number of years in its orbit. They knew about a lot of other things, but when the anthropologists asked where they got this information, they told the anthropologist something curious. They said there was these green amphibious beings that came down in a flying saucer from the sky. They're called the Nomos, and they told the Dogon this information. And that kind of is where it stopped. There's obviously, if you look on the internet, there's some interesting controversy around that. Here's Sirius A, B, and C. So on the top, we have our English word for Sirius A, B, and C. On the bottom, that's the Nomo words for them. But so here you see Sirius B has this strange elliptical orbit. Sirius A is a very bright bluish star that we can see with our bare eyes. Sirius B you cannot see except with a very high power telescope. In Egypt, Isis is associated with Sirius A. Osiris is associated with Sirius B. And some metaphysical thinkers and seers will let us know that Sirius C is associated with Nephthys and or Anubis. So if you know anything about the myth of Isis and Osiris and his brother Set, it's a very almost like Greco-Roman myth where you picture these people. And it's long been known or thought that Isis and Osiris were the king and queen of Egypt. It's also being suggested that there's a metaphorical allegory here as to who Isis and Osiris are or where they came from. So if Set is Osiris's evil brother who tricks Osiris into getting into a coffin, sealing it shut, killing him, sending him down the Nile, and then being really worried about his wife Isis resurrecting him, so tearing his body into pieces and strewing it around the land. So what we know about the existence of Sirius A and B, Sirius A in existence, Isis. Sirius B was created by a plasma ejection from Sirius C as it was on its ascension path. So Sirius C, Nephthys and Anubis are associated with the underworld. They're associated with what happens after we leave our bodies in the ascension process. So what Sirius C created that we can see with our eyes was Osiris. And it would be also within that myth, I hope that this is followable here, that Set has a place in these stars in this allegory. There is a planet star known as Neberu. Neberu was ejected out of the ascension trajectory of Sirius C when it was on its ascension path. That would be the evil brother Set who tried to kill Osiris. And Set or Neberu, actually this star is condemned to being lost right now. It's stuck between Ra, the sun, and Sirius A. It's never going to be able to find its own freedom. So it's interesting to think about that what the folks in Africa knew about this information and how it can kind of help us connect to Egypt. And I'm gonna take one more hop and skip before we get to hopefully a sense of the Lion's Gate as it might come through for us today. So on the left of this image is the Mali, the country of Mali. That little red circle is the Bangladari escarpment where the Dogon tribe exists. If we go down to the bottom, the southern tip of Africa, South Africa, you'll see in the right-hand picture, there's some green at the upper rightmost part of that image. If we go to those tribes, that area is called the Timbavate region of South Africa. And I'm going to share an interesting story that, again, strangely links lions and Sirius, and potentially helps us understand why this stuff is so important. I've talked about this last year on the Lionsgate. This is an image of a book by a woman named Linda Tucker. It's called The Mystery of the White Lions, Children of the Sun God. And I'm gonna paraphrase really quickly so we get a sense of who she is and why this is important. Linda Tucker is an advertising executive living in New York City and Paris around the time of the early 1990s. She likes to go to South Africa because she loves animals. She loves seeing the wild animals in their element. She's on one of these safari expeditions. She knows of the existence of white lions, and they're said to have been very rare. They're being poached, they're being hunted, and she's with this group of people, and they hear that there might be a lion being born in that region. So it's dusk. They hear something, and one of the guides says, I think that's the sound of a baby cat being born. Let's go see. So they take their truck out at dusk. The truck breaks down. The truck breaks down right next to where the mom gave birth. So then at dusk, what happens? 24 big cats come around. They're upset. They're threatened. And they're about to, and she tells a story of how they'll point the light and you can just see this cat in a crouching position. And they're all just hanging out of this Land Cruiser vehicle. So they're starting to realize they're going to get killed. And then this woman, a Sangoma, her name is Maria Costa, walks through the herd of cats with a baby on her chest or her back and a young child to her right side. Walks straight through, sits in the center of the Jeep. The cats all calm down, go quiet. And so they finally figure out how somebody basically they find a way, now that the cats have calmed down, to somebody walks back, gets another truck, and saves all these people. So Linda Tucker goes back to her executive life and can't shake it. She can't shake what happens. 3 years later, she realizes she has to return to this region and figure out who this lady was, Maria Cosa, who saved these people's lives, and how she was able to walk through. And Maria meets Linda and kind of sneers at her and said, it took you 3 years to wake up. That's a very long time. But what she said, she taught Linda about what the Timbavate region, which is where these cats are, means. Timbavate means the place where the star lions came down. And the elders in this region believe that these white lions are from the stars, and they're here to protect humanity during a time of crisis. And Maria says something curious to Linda after they've worked together. She says, you are my daughter, and I need you to take on my role as a Sangoma. She's like, you're not a Sangoma, but I need you to take on the responsibility of protecting these cats. And Maria gets, and Linda Tucker says, I don't know if I'm ready for this. I'm a white woman. I'm not of this land. And she says, isn't apartheid already over? You're the only person who needs to do this. You need to go. And so she spends her whole lifetime, she's still doing the work. The cats do go into extinction. There are bounties up to $120,000, I guess, to have these cats hunted. Americans will pay this much for a local indigenous person to do this type of hunting. So Linda tells a story of how at some point, all the cats that they know of that carry this gene are gone. And Maria says, you're so literal, you lose faith too quickly. You forgot how to have faith in spirit. Look for the signs. Look for the signs that this lineage is going to come through. So the sign was there's a poaching camp in the town of Bethlehem. It's not anything really related to the biblical story, but there's a baby cat born on December 25th in the evening. And so Linda says that's going to be the cat. It's going to be a white lion. That's the sign. And the elders named this cat Ma Ra. Ma meaning mother, of Ra, the Egyptian sun god. Interestingly enough, this area, Timbavate, we start to pull it back to Egypt. It's the exact latitude and longitude in the southern hemisphere of the Great Pyramids, right where the big Sphinx is, that is the enigma that we can't figure out, that is somehow related to Sirius, somehow related to things we can't understand. At the southern part of our planet, we have these white cats, and science has documented that they're not albinos. They are a genetic strain of Panthera leo that is just randomly in this part of the region, science will just say it's just a mutation. It just happened. They're actually not albinos. They are just these white cats. So with that, I'm doing good time. We're going to be able to have a meditation. This is great. I was hoping that I could get through all of this. With that, I hope that you can kind of start to get the sense of why this day is important. And while I right now don't have a thesis statement, I hope that you can feel the charge of energy. I hope that you can feel the interesting things that are going to be unfolding for humanity as we head forward. The good news about Linda Tucker now has started a white lion preserve. She was able to put her life on the line and go against the poachers who had the cat. And there's now, I think, about 15 of these lions living in the wild. They're also still bounties on their heads, but they're also thus far quite safe. So with that, I'm going to quickly switch gears and give you guys a sneak peek before we get to our meditation. This is a working title for this class that I'm going to be teaching next. I've been working with this Sangoma in South Africa for a while now. It's not been time to talk about it, but I think it's going to be time to talk about it. Not Maria Cosa Sangoma that book is, and that means shaman. But we're going to be we're going to be connecting with our ancestors. The ancestors are a portal to connecting with the natural world. Telepathic communication with animals and plants is possible, and higher dimensions. So that's going to be happening during eclipse season. That's all I'm really going to say about it right now, but September's just around the corner. So with that, I think I'm going to go right into the meditation and see if anybody, we'll see if we want to share at the end, but because I want to get my pet to its support system, I'm going to go ahead and start. So let's go ahead and take a second to just let yourself sit straight or stand straight. Let your spine be straight. And maybe you close your eyes. Maybe you just bring your awareness inside and feel the energy of this moment. Feel your energy of right now. And take a nice deep breath. Breathe in through your nose. Breathe out through your mouth. Start to slow down your breath. Breathe in through your nose. And let your exhale be just a little bit longer than your inhale. And so feel your body breathing. Feel this physical vessel that's carrying your soul in this lifetime. Feel the miracle of the breath and feel your body respond to your just slightly deepening and altering your breath. And start to settle in for a little bit. And then bring your awareness to your heart, your heartbeat, the drum inside your chest. Leo season, Leo the lion, associated so strongly with our heart energy. And begin to listen to your heartbeat. And see if you can feel it as this magical drum inside your chest, always beating. And now bring your awareness to your breath and start to draw the breath from the crown of your head as you inhale all the way down your spine. Exhale through your feet or exhale through the base of your spine if you're seated. Send some roots down into earth. So you're breathing in, taking the energy in from the stars, from the sun, from Sirius on this day. Breathe out. You are the conduit. Send it down your spine, send it into the earth. And just notice that your spine is straight. You're sitting tall, but you're relaxed. And so you're breathing in through the top of the head, you're breathing in through your nose, you're breathing down into your belly. Keep that breath nice and deep and exhale through your feet or through your tailbone. And if you haven't already done so, close your eyes. Feel your heart in your chest. And lean into just that experience. And if you can't feel it, maybe you place your hand on your chest, maybe you place your fingers on your wrist, find your pulse. See if you can just find that, how that heart pulses the blood in this spinning motion, and it's giving life to all of your body, this drum that is the center of your heart, the heart being the most powerful energetic aspect of ourselves, this pulsing energy out into every aspect of our being. And now as you breathe in through your nose, but breathe in through the crown of the head. Take in light, take in energy, take in prana, take in vitality, take in joy. Then as you breathe out any heaviness, breathe out any exhaustion, breathe out any worries, breathe out any fear. Send it down. Breathe in, take in the light, take in the love, take in the peace, take in the prana. Notice what you're breathing in that's coming from the stars. And it's as if this drum in your chest is this magical vortex, taking that in and then also sending out everything that doesn't serve. Send that down, and also goes down the light that you're taking in. And continue with that breath for a little bit longer. Breathing in the light that's coming from the stars. Maybe you start to feel the love that's coming from the star beings. If the idea of lines from Sirius resonate with you, wonderful. If not, just breathe in light. This is time, this is a day where things beyond our consciousness can come into our field, can come into our awareness. Exhale, send that down, but also send out anything from your field that no longer serves. And stay connected to that drum in your chest. And see if you can, now that you're in a deeper state of relaxation, listen. If you're listening to your heartbeat, listen deeply. How is your heart beating? Is it slow? Is it fast? Is it happy? Is it sad? How are you today? Connect with your heartbeat and accept it. Accept how you are right now. Accept who you are right now. Accept everything about how you're breathing, about whether or not you can feel your heartbeat. See if you can just be with you. Accept your body, accept your breath. And continue taking in the light from above as you breathe in. Whatever energy that needs to come to you can come to you right now. Whatever love, whatever light codes can come into you. Take it into that drum in your chest, take it into that energetic portal in your chest, and then breathe out. Send that down into earth, but also send out anything that does not serve. And see if as you're breathing now, you can allow your breath to be a little bit lighter, a little bit easier. No stress, just presence. And now maybe put your hand on your heart, the center of your chest. You take your fingers to your pulse. Connect with this physical vessel. Connect with this physical drum in your chest. And notice what's happening to your heartbeat now. Notice if there's any change. Notice if there's any information. You can keep your hand on your chest or your pulse, or you can bring your hands back to where they were resting, maybe on your lap. And shift your awareness to your breath again. Breathing in deeply, but not too strongly. Breathing in through the top of the head, taking that light down into your heart. Exhaling it down into earth, still exhaling anything that does not serve. And maybe take a moment as you're breathing now to listen to the world around you. If you can tune into outside, if you're in a room, maybe you can hear the birds. Maybe you just hear the fan, or your pet, or the faucet dripping. Take in your world for a moment. And then move your awareness, if you're inside, beyond the walls of wherever you're at, and see if you can connect to the natural world that's always present. Even if there's concrete everywhere beneath the area around you, maybe connect to a tree, connect to a bird, connect to an animal. And whatever you've connected to, maybe notice how that tree is breathing. Notice how that bird's heart is beating. It might feel like you're imagining it. Allow yourself to do so. And whatever you've connected to in the natural world, as you breathe in, start to take that into your field. Breathe that tree, that bird, that essence into your body. Breathe that vitality in. And as you breathe out any heaviness, any exhaustion, any sadness, anything that doesn't serve or is unwell. Just let it go. Send it down into earth, send it out into earth. A few more moments like that, breathing in the essence of whatever it is you've connected to on this planet, in this natural world, on this very special day. So you're still taking in light from the stars, light from the sky, light from Sirius, bringing it into your heart, sending that down. And now you're also connecting, because you are the healer of this planet. You are, our spinal columns are the conduit for this type of energy. That's what our toroidic energy field is. So continue to take that energy in and send it out. Send it down and send it out. If you can think about how a toroidal energy field is shaped, sending energy out in all directions all the time anyhow. So start to take ownership and power and strength and courage from that understanding. And see if you can feel with a little more knowing the oneness, the interconnection between all of us, between all things. Let's breathe in here for a few more rounds. Let's breathe in here from the top of the head. Let's breathe that light from the stars into our heart. And let's send that light down into the earth and out in all directions. If we consider that we are the conduit, that our energetic field shows us that we are continually taking in light. The toroidal energy field is just that. taking in light from the stars on this day from Sirius via our sun into our heart, into the most powerful aspect of who we are. Sending it down into earth, sending it out in all directions, sending it into the world, knowing that we are connected to everyone and everything, knowing that we are always potentially, if we can understand it, of service. Our service being our vibration. And on this day, taking the time to fill our cup, taking the time to receive light. That's what's coming through right now. Light and energy into the top of the head. Take it in, breathe it in. Take it into that heart chakra. Take it into the drum inside your chest. Send anything that doesn't serve and isn't of that down into earth. Also send that light down into earth. Send that light out in all directions. That is the nature of our toroidal energy field. We're taking it in and we're sending it out all the time. A few more breaths here. Maybe hands to heart one more time, thanking you, thanking yourself for being here, for taking the time on this very fortuitous day to connect, to receive, so that you can shine brightly. And with that, I'm going to slowly bring it to a close. I'm going to invite you to come back into your body, to feel your feet on the ground, to feel your sit bones in the chair, to feel the room around you, to feel this group. Thank you guys for joining. I hope that that was helpful. I hope that that was interesting. I hope that that was good. I'm going to